Greetings, 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 greetings. Greetings to all of you. Now we must keep the spirit moving. We must keep the spirit moving, and it's this high time that we can relent our effort. Thank you, Ruth, for joining in. Greetings, greetings. um, Remember that I will be broadcast on my Facebook and on my YouTube. So those are the other avenues that you should be able to get me live. I know we had this is just a new year that will begin. I know our brothers back home had spent their Christmas. The Christmas is the day we celebrate the birth of Jesus Christ. And people of different faith base, whether you're Catholic, you're Baptist, you're Presbyterians, whatever faith you share, is the faith that we believe that one person was born, Jesus Christ. But sometimes we begin to ask ourselves, because when we have people, they claim to be, they have taken the breath of Jesus Christ, and they claim they claim to be Catholic, and that is the president of La Republic of Cameroon. But when you compare the behavior, how will you expect if Christ was in that format and head of a nation? Because if Christ came to the earth, he came to rescue mankind. And in certain parables says, we have to respect an authority that lacks the fundamental value of human dignity. then you begin to try to relate whether the behavior matches the actual individual whom claim to be. And that is the phobia of neighboring country La Republic of Cameroon. Our brothers and sisters are living in the forest. Our brothers are being killed indiscriminately. Women deliver child in the forest. Children born in the forest and die in the forest. It is absolutely painful. It is absolutely painful. When you have an individual, at Tanganji. That is why when you apply for a job here in the United States, they want you to get a credential. They want you to get a credential of yours. They want to do a drug test. When you apply for a job here in the United States, they want to do a drug screening. A drug screening is to make sure that you are safe in an environment that they are about to hire you. They're about to hire you to work in an environment. And they want that in that environment that you're going to be working is a safe environment for other people that are going to be working in that same environment. If you have been in prison, if you have been in jail, they want you to write briefly on your applications what happens. The essence is to make sure that the person whom we are hiring is going to be a safe environment for other human dignity. That is why they want to know if you have been in prison, if you have been in jail. What is the problems? Why? Why were you in jail? Were you in jail because of the crime? That is why they want to verify. They want to verify your background because they want to make sure it's safe. But in a neighboring country, La Republic of Cameroon, when ex-convicts are being removed from their own prison yard and placed in the public domain, and that is at Tanganji. That is at Tanganji. When La Republic removes someone that is in a desert storm, that is at Tanganji, that was removed from prison, and placed under the territorial administration to guide human dignity. And that is why you will see he's using public fund to create a group under the public fund and create a group that he used public fund to create a group, and that is at Tanganji. That is the territorial administration, minister of the neighboring country, La Republic. Someone that has no coherent mental capability. He's using human over the fundamental value what the people are asking for. But he ignored these fundamental principles and using human shield that he paid. He's using human shield that he used the public fund, the public domain, the public fund, and claimed to be territorial administration's minister. When people are asking for a meaningful reform, United States stand for a reform, Great Britain stand for a reform. Russia stands for a reform. Israel stands for a reform. The British government stands for a reform. Any democratic value in this planet stands for a reform. But when the human deviate from that reform and create a caricature that represents a dogmatism, so when there are different categories of prisoners, so when I talk of ex-convict, it's in a generous term. There are people who want a reform, and that is why they went to prison. They went to prison. Nelson Mandela went to prison because he went for a good cause, for a reform. And he, after 27 years in prison, Nelson Mandela was able to make the reform that he has been assigned, because every individual has a spirit that the Lord has assigned and that you must accomplish those spirits. But in this scenario, Atangaji, the new birth prisoners, because there is a great difference between the real prisoner and the convicted criminal. Because when you look at the convicted criminal, their character and their behavior doesn't match. Because when you look at Tanganji from his new birth prison, you will acknowledge that this is a convicted criminal. And now, he has just continued his behavior. You all saw what happened in Fumba. You all know what happened in Fumba. A convicted criminal. A convicted criminal that has no background and is in the helm to tell the people of the free society how they should function. And that is why I am calling the governor of Florida, that the ex-convict that create an investment in Florida. So we are asking the United States government to investigate Atanganji in Florida. What is he doing in Florida? That the property that he used to fund the governor of Florida, the United States government. United States government is not a corrupt system. We are asking, what did Atanganji put in Florida? And he needs to be started investigated immediately. Atanganji, the ex-convicted criminal. United States is not a country for convicted criminal. United States is not a place for convicted criminal. That is why I am calling on the United States government to start looking at who is Atanganji, because that is the convicted criminal. That is behavior is questionable, because he has no representative of the people of Saharan Cameroon. United States need to start immediately investigate this convicted criminal, Atanganji. What relationship does he have in Florida? United States is not for sale. United States is not for convicted criminal. United States is for decent society. United States stands for the value of dignity, of human dignity. United States is not a corrupted society. United States is not a corrupted society. United States is a government with a difference. United States is a government that stood for human and not for convicted criminal. Fellow brothers and sisters, our people are going through a triumphant period. Our people are going through a triumphant period. A period that shouldn't have happened in the first place. A period of agony. A period of pain. A period of suffering. That is why when you invite someone to your home, you need to give the terms of the invitation. Because once you don't give the terms of the invitation, then you will be realized that you are in a panic mood when that individual starts taking over your home. That is why you need to define the terms of who is coming to your home. Because we have the habit of accepting every individual. And that is why the Southern Cameroon in the 50s accept La Republique without preconditions, acknowledge La Republique without preconditions. So today our people have become the slaughtering house because we accept every individual without preconditions. We are admitted every individual in the Southern Cameroon without preconditions. And that is why we become now the slaughtering house. We become the slaughtering house. We have La Republique appoint every officials in the Southern Cameroon that control every aspect of the Southern Cameroon life. We thought they're going to change. We believe they're going to change. But unfortunately, today as I'm speaking, the people of Bialem, today as I'm speaking, La Republique, terrorist government of La Republique, are now encircled Le Bialem. If you haven't been calling Le Bialem, therefore I urge you to call Le Bialem, because Le Bialem are being encircled by the terrorist government of La Republique. They are being encircled by the terrorist government of La Republique. Our people deserve something better for themselves. We did not invite terrorist government of La Republique. Our people have their own identity. Their identity is engraved and is governed by the international community. But how the international community turn a blind eye over the sovereignty of the people of Southern Cameroon, and they become the murdering house, slaughtering house, because you can imagine the Chinese government, they don't use meat. They use meat that they being, for those who eat corned beef that they believe is coming from China. Those are human meat that are being filled in China and distributed in the African continent. Maybe the citizens of Southern Cameroon are immediately converted to Chinese government for the human corned beef. Our people in Bialem, our people in Bialem are going through agony over a terrorist government of La Republique du Cameroon that invade our territory. Invade our territory because we happen to be a good welcomer. We invite everybody to our home. We leave our open door policy. Our open door policy allowed La Republique to penetrate into our home because we have an open door policy. An open door policy that will allow the British government to have access and discuss their own natural gas that will benefit the British Crown and La Republique du Cameroon over the dignity of the sovereign people of Southern Cameroon. While the people are living in agony, the British ambassador to the neighboring country, La Republique, is debating the benefit of natural gas from the Southern Cameroon that will benefit the two nations, La Republique, while our citizens are living in agony. The natural gas. Our brothers and sisters basically have no food on the table, basically have no clothing, basically have absolutely nothing for their own self. But the British and the neighboring country, La Republique, have the benefit of it, how it will benefit mutual nations. Fellow brothers and sisters, I assure you that we are at war. But the enemy is advancing towards us. While we pay attention and focus on the enemy, we focus on our own fighting our individual egoistic interests rather than the enemy that is penetrating us. It doesn't matter who should be at the helm of the leadership. It doesn't matter who should be at the helm of the leadership. But so long as the vision and the goal and objective is clear and focused on the getting out of this war-torn invasion by the neighboring country, La République du Cameroon. We are at war. We are at war. We are bringing this attention to the fellow citizens of these great nations. Our people deserve to defend themselves. They have to defend themselves, because when you live at your home and you see a terrorist government of La République penetrating into your home, invading your people, shooting at indiscriminately, and you are the sons and daughters that you live elsewhere, you must turn inward and face the reality. And that is why all the sons and daughters in the diaspora, we must turn and fight the enemy. I understand the Lord that binds every nation, but our people are bleeding. Our people are bleeding. We have surrendered all our problems and our brothers and bleeding in every day, that when we take the images, you all know from the Facebook, once an image is posted on the Facebook, immediately Facebook suspend you, because they don't want you to show. They want you to show the happy hour. They don't want you to show the root hour. But that's the root hour that is affecting most populations. But Facebook. But I want to take a moment to thank the Twitter, because Twitter is not a censorship. Twitter is the best account. If you haven't got a Twitter account, I urge you to join the Twitter account, because the Twitter account, there is no censorship. Just unlike Facebook. Facebook is censorship. They prevent you from posting any images. And that is the images that is showing the destruction that is carried on by the terrorists of La République. But Facebook will not allow you to post them. Neither will the YouTube allow you, because they have what they call a policy. But if you haven't had a Twitter account, I urge you to have a Twitter account. Because the Twitter account, there is no censorship. There's no censorship. And you hit the enemy exactly what it is. Facebook is more of a censorship. What is not their standard? What is not their decision? They control you just like La République control every aspect of their own people in the neighboring country. But I urge you, get a Twitter account. A Twitter account, that is where you hit the enemy. Exactly whatever you see from the enemy. Our people doesn't deserve to have this. The people of Manfi, I want to take a moment to thank all of you, that those who have already sacrificed their lives for 2016, 2018, we are now turning to 2019, a new era that we must stand together. A new era that we must define what is our objective and what is our goal. How are we going to accomplish our goal? That should be the vision we have for the 2019. 2019, we're no longer going to be romancing with this system. The vision that I believe that we can move forward. The vision that I believe that there should be a step forward moving. One, the creation of the Southern Cameroon currency. Why people think that we must get to the Southern Cameroon territory before we can have our currency to be able to displace in our central bank. No, we don't really have to be. But so long as we have our currency, so long as we have our money that the people are able to utilize, is their ability to move forward. Why some of the leadership, they haven't had this. They believe that they must have a certain control. They must have a certain define. No. The sons and daughters, we want them to have a grip of what they call the Southern Cameroon currency. And so they'll be able to utilize it. Even if they are living in the forest, even they are living in a graveyard, wherever they are, they should be utilizing the Southern Cameroon currency and not La Republic currency. So long as they are using La Republic currency, we are still the liability of La Republic. Nigeria make a difference. Nigeria make a difference when they terminate the British pound and convert to the naira. And that is when the British assume that they have to depart Nigeria. Nigeria look at what option do they have? Fighting the war with the British? What can they do to make a difference? And the option the British arrive on, hold on. Why is it important that having the Southern Cameroon currency? It's the last minute that we let La Republique that we no longer depend upon them. It doesn't matter whether we are in control of the territorial integrity. But so long as the people have something that they can purchase, and something they can purchase using their own value, it's a difference that we can make for the people of Southern Cameroon. This is a serious matter. Having a single Southern Cameroon currency is the way to move forward. It doesn't matter. So long if they're living in Lebialem in the midst of the forest and they are utilizing the amber currency, whether they are in Katungo, if they are in Katungo, and they are using amber in the forest. If they are in Ndu, dark forest, and they are utilizing the amber currency to exchange. If they are in Manime, and they are using amber currency as a medium of exchange. So long as the people embraces what they believe belongs to them, then that is the way we are moving forward. Whether we agree with whatever I am predicting, but so long as you still have the CFA, you are under the liability of La Republique. I think this is a golden opportunity that we reinforce it. It doesn't matter whether we have to debate whether we control the monetary flow. Let it be inflationary. But it is something that people respected and that belongs to them. It doesn't matter whether the world accepts it or not. It doesn't matter. But so long as whether we control it or not, But when we get to the bottom of it, that we are fiscally imbuoyant, then we will use the tools of the monetary discipline, and then we will control every aspect of the inflationary spiral. But we're using a weapon against the terrorist government of La Republique, that we have moved forward. But so long as we still have the CFA as a monetary value, we are under the control of La Republique. Whether you share my value or not, whether you agree with my philosophy or not, whether it is within the non-monetary terms of value or not, but so long as you still have the CFA, you are obligated to bind by La Republique terrorist government. It's the way we can move forward. The Nigeria did to the Great Britain, because there was nothing they could do without the British control, so long as the pound was the legal tender. But when the Nigeria converted into Naira, and the British could no longer see the pound circulating, then they know that Nigeria was gone. And that is the weapon we must institute. It doesn't matter, even if they live in the forest, so long as my great mother is able to accept his cocoyam for the amber currency. It doesn't matter whether the United States accept it or not. It doesn't matter whether Great Britain accept it or not. It doesn't matter. But so long as in Bafoot they are able to accept the pound of Achu in amber currency, it doesn't matter whether French government authorizes it or not. It doesn't matter. That is the beginning of the freedom of the people, that they are able to make choices of their own decision. Choices of their own decisions. Once we institute it and it starts circulating, it doesn't matter whether it is this, whether it let every individual get rich of it. It doesn't matter. But so long as we still pick up the CFA that is being printed by La Republique in China and distribute indiscriminately, does the La Republique control their own currency? They don't, because Chinese government is printing it indiscriminately and is circulating like a piece of paper. Why can't we create our own? Because we want to be the good guys and the good government. No. The amber currency is something that they got to put in place, and that let the people start enjoying their own currency. Even if they are living in the forest, even if they are living in the forest, they are exchanging the pound of tomatoes, the pound of palm oil, the pound of arrow. Let the acceptable tender should be an amber currency. The Ambazonian currency is the acceptable. So long as they are able to accept it, we care less who doesn't. Who cares less who doesn't? We need to acknowledge this, that this is the way we move forward. So long as you still use the CFA as a legal tender in the Southern Cameroon, no, you are a liability of La Republique. You are a liability of La Republique. But once the population acknowledge that they have their own monetary value. I remember in years ago when I traveled to Gwenga Market, I usually carry the pound of cassava with some bunch of plantains, and I was heading to Gwenga Market. For those of you who still recognize, we have been there. And I see a canoe guy pull on the side. All he had was his fish. All he had was his fish. And what I have was my bunch of cassava and the bunch of cassava and plantain. When they present it, it's up to us to agree what should be acceptable. And then having the Southern Cameroon currency as an acceptable medium of exchange, the rest shall come in later. The rest shall come in later. That is how I am urging the Southern Cameroon. A Southern Cameroon currency is an imperative that we instituted right now. Right now, while we are fighting the war front, but the Ambazonian currency should be the one they use as a medium of trade within the local community. We don't have to expect the world to acknowledge, but we expect the world to know that the Southern Cameroon has its own currency and that they are moving forward. Fellow brothers and sisters, we cannot be slaves. We have been slaves for the past 56 years. We can no longer be slaves again. We can no longer be slaves. We got to move forward. We got to move forward. That is why I am urging that for those in Libya, for those in Ngokutunja, for those in Mezan, for those in Bafut, for those in Donga Amantum, boy, wherever you are, fellow brothers and sisters, I am urging you, we need to stand for our freedom and liberate the Southern Cameroon once and for all. I will be coming more. I want to take a moment to thank all of you for watching. This is Fonton Daniel speaking here from the great state of Texas here in the United States. I wish you all a wonderful this evening.